I love eating food, and sometimes I struggle with overeating. And one thing I found that helps me is when I can control my portions. That makes a huge difference. So today in this video, I want to share with you 7 easy tips to help you control your food portions easier. A lot of us suffer from portion distortion, and so this can be helpful as you apply these things. Okay, so tip number 1 is to know how much a serving size is. A lot of times we'll look at labels and see the calories and think we've done our work, but that's only half the equation. If you look at the calories but you don't know what a serving size is, it doesn't do you any good. I remember once I was at a gas station. I hadn't eaten all day, so I grabbed one of those frosted sugar cookies, and I looked at it and said, oh, not bad, 50 calories for that. And then I realized one serving is 1/4 of a cookie. So it was actually a 200 calorie cookie instead of a 50 calorie cookie. So know your portion sizes and serving sizes. That's a huge, huge part of it.
A serving size of ice cream is 1/2 cup. What is that? Is that like a joke some guy put on there? Hey, come here. Look what I put for the serving size.
Okay, tip number 2 is slow down when you eat. So many times when we eat, we pretend it's an eating contest. We're just wolfing it down, just inhaling it, and you eat a lot of calories fast that way. So take your time when you eat. Enjoy the flavor, the smell, the texture. Chew slowly before you swallow, and you'll enjoy your food a lot more. It'll be a lot more pleasant dining experience than if you're just inhaling the whole meal. Number 3 is use smaller plates, cups, and utensils. So if you're dishing up a meal and have a choice in plate sizes, you can see here's a standard plate. There's some that are slightly smaller. You're gonna eat a lot less calories just in that little difference there. It's not like you have to dish up on a butter plate the things you're having, but just don't have a giant platter there to dish up. You're gonna have a lot more calories. You'll see in a lot of buffet places that they have small plates to discourage you from eating too much there. When it comes to drinks, water's great. Use as big a cup as you want, but if you're having juice, you should have something smaller like this, maybe like a shot glass, treat it like that, versus a giant tumbler of juice. That's just tons of calories. So when it comes to something with calories in it, drink in a smaller cup, you'll be better off. If you're eating ice cream or whatever, or some snack, and you've got 2 different spoon sizes, this might sound silly, but that big spoon, you're gonna finish a lot faster than you will with a smaller spoon. Be aware of the bowl size you're using. You've got some of these little nice ones, like a little lotus cup or things like this. And then you've got a standard size bowl, and then you can just keep going up from there to the popcorn bowl. So be careful on the size of the bowls you use. Okay, number 4 is split a meal with someone. So many times when we go out to eat, the portions are just so big. There's just so much food. I love Cafe Rio. My favorite thing there is their pork salad. But if you load that up with everything that they're gonna offer to you, it's about 1,500 calories if you max it out. And that is a lot of calories for one meal of the day, especially when you think you're having a healthy salad. So don't be afraid to split a meal like that, or eat half of it, put the rest in a doggy bag and have it the next day, because a lot of these restaurants have big helpings and it's a lot more than you think it is. Okay, number 5, if you're going out to eat fast food, obviously that's not ideal, but there are some things you can do to help with that. I did a video recently called The Lesser of Two Evils. It helps you make some choices that are less damaging when you're doing that. But don't be afraid to order just some of the things on the value menu, or even a kid's meal. I've done that a lot of times. Sometimes it might be a little embarrassing, but you can just tell them it's for your son or grandkid or something. But that's more of a true portion size. If you look at when fast food started in the 60s, what the serving sizes were versus what they are now, it's crazy. And it's only gotten worse in the last 20 years with supersizing and things like that. So get something on the value menu. It might be more like a slider. It's not going to fill you like a giant Whopper would, but that's more in line of what you should do for calories if you're eating out. Okay, number 6, you don't have to finish your entire plate. Many of us were raised with a mentality that we've got to finish our plate for discipline reasons, or there's children starving in other parts of the world, so you should better be grateful and eat everything on your plate. However, us overeating here has never helped any starving countries just because we eat a lot. So you can leave a little bit on your plate. I've found, I'm someone that if something's good, I'm tempted to lick the plate clean. That's my mentality. But I found that when I can just kind of ease back a little bit, leave something a little bit left on there, it's more of a psychological victory for me. And I don't feel like I'm just a slave to the food, when you're just starving and finish your plate every single time. So don't feel like you always have to finish your plate full of food. Number 7, if you struggle eating too much, one thing you can do is use a food app like MyFitnessPal that can track your calories and track your food consumption. This is helpful for a couple reasons. One, it'll track your calories, but even more so, I like it just because it's such an educational experience. It sheds so much light on your eating patterns, not just the calories, but your macros, how much protein and carbohydrate and fat are you getting, those sort of things. So I highly recommend even if it's not a permanent thing, but just for a week or whatever, just to track your eating, and you'd be amazed at what you learn about sometimes how limited your eating habits are, how unhealthy they are when we don't realize that. So use a food tracking app to get a better idea of what you're actually eating. All right, because I love you guys, I've got a quick bonus item for you. This one's not so much with portions, but it is with helping you to not overeat. And the key for this is to not dish up at the table. If you're eating a dinner and you've got a pan of lasagna sitting in the center of the table, sometimes you will have seconds or thirds before you've even realized what's happening. But if you have to get up and walk into the kitchen or walk over to the stove to get your seconds, you're more aware of how much you're eating. So don't just have all the food right within reach for you for the whole meal, but make it a little bit more inconvenient for you to dish up seconds and thirds so you realize what's happening. I'd love to hear in the comments if there's any tips or advice, anything that you have experienced that's helped you control your portion size when it comes to avoid overeating. Stay tuned for more videos. I got some fun stuff coming out here, and feel free to subscribe.